There's never going to be a country like what we have right now.
And does that
the
mean
Republicans have to talk about it, Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we
a
have
country
plenty of talented people
no, you
here.
don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well,
when you and I were
I'll give you an example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I don't agree with you on this one, Trump. This is literally the opposite of what he campaigned on. His slogan is "Make America Great Again." He spoke about bringing in jobs to America. He spoke about bringing factories back to America. He even gave incentives to companies for bringing their factories back to America. And what he's talking about here is the complete opposite. Going to other countries and bringing workers from there into America to do the jobs that Americans aren't capable of doing, in his opinion. I think that's completely wrong. And I think that we may not, let's just say with batteries, for instance, maybe we don't have enough people who know how to make batteries. But we definitely have people in this country that do know how to make batteries. And those people will have to train the people who want the job in making batteries. And it's going to cost money. It's going to take time. But I don't think doing the opposite of what got you into office is beneficial. People who elected Donald Trump as president wanted to bring things back in-house. They want Americans creating businesses here, flourishing here, building here, and boosting the economy here. They don't want to outsource like Trump is talking about here. It doesn't make sense that he's trying to do a 180 and say, oh no, we need to pull people from other countries now because us Americans, we don't have qualified workers. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think that he's doing the Americans a disservice by saying this and thinking that we aren't capable of learning new skills or being trained or even being the ones to train people on new skills. But I got a video here from Nick Fuentes, and let me show you how he thinks about this. Roll the clip.
You need them. You can't bring in $10 billion for a plant, take people off the unemployment line, and start making missiles. It doesn't work that way. So that being a non sequitur aside, once again, this is just the next stage. So first they take the seats at the advanced universities from Americans, then they take the best jobs, then they take the best STEM jobs. No, you can't go to college, that's for the Chinese. No, you can't get a tech job, that's for the Indians, that's for the South Koreans. That's for Asians and immigrants from other countries. Americans can't do those jobs. Really? So hey, what jobs can we do? Americans apparently can't go to universities. And Americans also, they won't do the low-skill jobs that the Mexicans do. They also won't do the high-skill jobs that the Asians can do. They refuse to do the low-skill jobs that the dumb peasants from Central America do because they're lazy and they just can't work with their hands. And they're not able to do the high-skill jobs that the Asians do because they're stupid. You can't take them out of the unemployment line and teach them to make missiles. And by the way, both of these things are not true. Of course you can do that. Of course you can. When ICE raided a meatpacking plant in, I think it was Kansas, and they rounded up all the illegals and detained them, the following day, there was a line going around the building. The entire lobby of the meatpacking plant was filled, and there was a line wrapped around the building of people applying for jobs. Of course, Americans will do the jobs. You got to train them. It costs money, and it takes time. You got to train them up, but of course they'll do those jobs. And as far as the STEM jobs go, you probably have about 40% of college graduates 18 to 40 that have a STEM degree. How many of them are working in a STEM field? I think it's like 15%. So it's not just that you have unemployment, you have underemployment. You have maybe half of the people that have STEM jobs that are not, that have STEM degrees, they're not working in STEM jobs. Of course you can train them to make missiles. Instead of having Americans train H-1B visa workers to take their job, have the H-1B visa workers train Americans to take their job. It's a no-brainer. Of course you can do, and this is what's missing in the government that we thought we were getting from Trump. And by the way, this actually goes towards the whole thing about Joseph Stalin. Why do I like Stalin in some ways? Super controversial, I know. Because if you read anything about the industrialization of the Soviet Union, it's incredible. These communists, as horrible and barbaric as they were, they would get on trains and they would go to factories and they would literally build factories from nothing. The actual politicians would do it. The actual politicians, they didn't know how to do anything. But they bootstrapped it. They got on trains, they went out there, and they just made towns that made tanks and planes. And they stole the secrets from the United States, and they just did it. And it was super inefficient and criminal, and they used slave labor to do it. Like, I'm not co-signing the methods. But there was this spirit. There was a spirit there. There was a spirit in Germany also. There was also a spirit like this in America. It was a different time where people just said, we will do it. And we thought we were getting that with Trump. That's, by the way, what Make America Great Again means. The whole idea of Make America Great Again is this idea that the country is stuck. The country can't do anything. The government has no efficacy. The government can't solve problems, and neither can the private sector. It seems like our country is dying, and basically people are unable to stop it. People are either apathetic and they don't care, or people are inept and they're not competent enough. And it seems like the whole country's falling off the cliff and no one is able to even do anything. And we're looking at these energetic countries with tons of young people, whether it's in the Middle East or it's in Asia. We look at cities like Dubai. We look at cities like Singapore. We look at Beijing, Hong Kong. And people say, why can't we build things like they're building in China? Why can't, in China, they build bridges, they build things. We can't build anything. In Dubai, they build like world wonders and it's peaceful. In Chicago and New York, it's a shithole. It's dirty. There's crime everywhere. It smells like weed. You can't build anything. And the whole idea of Trump getting into office is that we would get the energy back. We would get this initiative back. That's what Make America Great Again meant. And yes, the aesthetics of MAGA had in it, you know, I'm not a socialist, but this idea of like heavy industry, like factories making stuff, like Americans would be drafted not to go and fight in the Middle East, but literally drafted to build shit in America. You're going to get a job, you're going to work, and we're literally going to make things. We're going to make our country great. We're going to build skyscrapers, bridges, infrastructure. We're going to work with our hands. We're going to have factories. We're going to be a productive nation that builds the future. That was the whole premise. And Americans would do it. It was that Americans would do the building, not Chinese, not Indians, not foreign labor, not outsourcing. American labor, American builders, buying American, hiring American, American ingenuity and entrepreneurship and innovation and labor and companies would literally create our future. That was the idea of MAGA.
Yeah, so I got to agree with Nick Fuentes on this one. We have to allow Americans to be part of making America great again. That's literally what intrigued everybody about Trump. He wanted to bring American jobs and let Americans pull themselves up from their bootstraps and stop having to deal with Asia and China and rely on others making our products and bring it back to America and let Americans do that because we're just as capable. And now it seems as though he's doing a whole 180 and saying, oh, whoa, hold on. We're not very capable. We can't do these things. And it just puts a bad taste in your mouth. Like, man, we really trusted you when it comes to bringing jobs back to America, wanting Americans to do it and bringing factories back to America. And then you say something like this, or, oh, we don't have the qualifications for it. We do if you give Americans a chance. It's happened in the past. And the reason Americans haven't been learning skills or doing things is because they've been so used to getting handouts time and time again. How about we stop giving handouts to everybody and we say, hey, you got to work for what you get. You got to work for what you earn. You got to earn what we're going to give you. You don't just keep getting to have a free ride year after year after year and you don't have to do anything for it. That's what the problem is. And that's what Nick Fuentes is saying. That's the problem with this government right now that we thought we were getting was bringing things back to America and truly becoming America again and not relying on others. And it doesn't seem like Trump is fully devoted to that. In some aspects he is, but in this specific aspect, he's not. You guys let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section. That's all I got for you today. I'll see you on the next one.